answer that's going to fill in that hole and guarantee that the support allows us to reach our conclusion.
So go do what you do.
So let's take it one step at a time here and first work on identifying the conclusion. They make it just a little bit difficult for us, as they commonly do by splitting the conclusion up, right? The author's point is that the early entomologist was wrong. And in order to know what he means by that, we have to look back and see what the early entomologist said. And he said that the ants were bringing food to their neighbors. Okay, so we can put these things together, figure out that Atron's main point is that the ants were not bringing food to their neighbors. What's the support he offers? Well, there's this research that shows that the ants were emptying their own dumping site, right? So they were actually taking their trash over to their neighbors. Okay, so here's the argument. Atron's is saying the ants weren't bringing food to their neighbors, and the reasoning given is he's saying they were actually bringing trash over to their neighbors. And every time I'm asked to evaluate an argument like this, I know this support does not guarantee this conclusion. I'm not going to give it away here just yet, okay? So I'd love for you to think about this on your own first. Okay, so if you need to pause the video, go ahead and do so. But this support doesn't guarantee this conclusion. Now, I also want you to think about, if you can see that, what would we need in order for it to guarantee the conclusion, right? What sort of answer do we need so that if we were to see, yes, they're emptying their own dumping site, then we can guarantee, you know what, thus they weren't bringing any food to their neighbors. Okay, now let's go ahead and think about how the answers relate to this hole in our argument. And even if you weren't able to see the issue clearly, right, you should still be able to see that the vast majority of answers will, no matter what the problem is, not be enough to guarantee that this support allows us to reach this conclusion. And so what you want to do first is you want to get rid of all those obviously wrong answers. Okay, so we want to go through the answers one at a time with a clear sense of the argument in our heads and a clear sense of our giant task, right, which is to make sure this support guarantees this conclusion. And think about each of these answers on those terms. Okay, so we can start with A. Ant societies do not interact in all the same ways that human societies interact. Well, that's great and all, but does that guarantee the ants weren't bringing food to their neighbors? That's a very, at best, indirect connection to the specific points being made in this argument. And again, even if you didn't see the flaw that clearly, I think it's pretty easy to see that no matter what the issue was, it would not be enough to fix it. Okay, so we can go ahead and get rid of that answer. B, there's only weak evidence for the view that ants have the capacity to make use of objects as gifts, right? So if we think about food being a gift, and we think about the ants bringing it over to their neighbor's house as a gift, maybe it's relevant. But is B enough to guarantee this conclusion? No, it's not, right? And if you think about it on those terms, it's fairly easy to get rid of it quickly. C. Ant dumping sites do not contain particles that can be used as food. Immediately, it's easy to see that this is much more relevant to our argument than A and B were, right? And if we plug it in, it seems to play a very important role. ants were dumping their own dumping site. Their dumping site doesn't have any food, therefore they weren't bringing food. Makes a lot of sense to me. So let's go ahead and leave it for now. The ants to whom the particles were brought never carried the particles into their colonies. This might be relevant if you thought of the conclusion slightly differently, right? Or if you thought about it in terms of whether the food was brought in or not. That actually has nothing to do with the point being made, which is that these ants brought it over in the first place. And so if you think about needing to guarantee this particular conclusion, again, we can get rid of D fairly quickly as well. And E, the entomologist retracted his conclusion when it was determined that the particles the ants carried came from their dumping site. Okay, so the guy who originally said it took back what he said. Does that guarantee this conclusion? Right? Does it guarantee that since they were emptying their own dumping site, they weren't bringing food to their neighbors? No, it doesn't. Okay? So again, another case where even if you didn't see the flaw that clearly, it's pretty easy to see that E is not what you need in order to fill that gap. So let's go back to the one answer that remains. Ant dumping sites do not contain particles that could be used as food. Does this allow our conclusion to be guaranteed by our premise? Yes, it does. Right? So they're emptying their dumping site. It doesn't contain any food. So therefore, we can say, you know what? If that's what they're doing, they're not bringing food to their neighbors. And C is the correct answer. Now, the last issue that I mentioned, the LSAT test, is your mental discipline. They're not bringing food to their neighbors, and C is the correct answer. Now, the last issue that I mentioned, the LSAT test, is your mental discipline. And we can really define mental discipline as your ability to stay on task. Okay? And one of the ways they test this is by giving you some tendencies and some twists. So most argument-based questions will, just like the example we saw, require you to be critical when you evaluate reasoning. On the flip side, some won't. And for the questions that don't require you to be critical, you want to make sure that you stay as objective as possible. There are 4 different types of questions that require you to simply evaluate the structure of an argument, but not be critical of the reasoning. Identify the conclusion question. Simply ask you, hey, what is the point being made? Identify the method of reasoning. What is the support-conclusion relationship? ID the role. What part of the argument is this one highlighted portion? And then finally, match the reasoning, right? So which of the answer choices has an argument structure that's most similar to the one that you're originally given? And then finally, there are a few problem types that don't center on understanding arguments at all. And you can think about these as outliers. We've got inference questions. These ask you, which of the following answer choices is most supported by the information given in the stimulus? We've got explain this questions, right? And here they'll give you the 2 things that seem to not go together in the stimulus. And they'll ask, how could it be true that these 2 things happen at the same time, say? Identify the disagreement questions. These questions are unique in that they will present 2 different people speaking in the stimulus, and your job is to see what it is that these 2 people are actually disagreeing about. And then finally, identify an example question, right? And these ask you to find an answer choice that best illustrates a principle or point that is made in the stimulus. Let's go ahead and take a look at and identify an example problem. Again, if you'd like a chance to try this on your own before we discuss it together, please pause the video. So again, we want to start by looking at the question stem. This one says, the actions of which of the following individuals exhibit the most advanced kind of moral motivation as described by the ethicist? So I know that in this case, my job is not to look for an argument in the stimulus and to look for reasoning issues in that argument. Instead, my job is to figure out as best I can exactly what this ethicist means when he says the most advanced kind of moral motivation. And then really the key task of this problem is taking that simple understanding and critically evaluating each of the answer choices. Okay. So what this ethicist says is that the most advanced kind of moral motivation is based solely, so that's 100%, on abstract principles. Right? So on ideals, say. This form of motivation is in contrast with calculated self-interest or the desire to adhere to societal norms and conventions. Okay? So going into the answer choices, what I'm looking for is an example of an action taken based solely on abstract principles. And what I'm looking for in the wrong answers, right, the answers to eliminate, are hints of self-interest or some sort of desire to adhere to norms and conventions. Okay, so let's take a look at each of the answer choices one at a time, using that as our for our mindset. A, Bobby contributed money to a local charity during a charity drive at work. Sounds good so far. Because he worried that not doing so would make him look stingy. Right? So clearly, this is not based on an abstract principle. It's based on how he looks to other people, right? So we can go ahead and eliminate A. B, Wes contributed money to a local charity during a charity drive. Again, starts off pretty good at work because he believed that doing so would improve his employer's opinion of him. Okay, so there's some calculated self-interest there as well. We can get rid of B. C, Donna's employers engaged in an illegal but profitable practice that caused serious damage to the environment. Donna did not report this practice to the authorities, out of fear that her employers would retaliate against her. Okay, so there's some clear self-interest there as well, and we can eliminate C. D, Jadine's employers engaged in a legal but profitable practice that caused serious damage to the environment. Jadine reported this practice to the authorities out of a belief that protecting the environment is always more important than monetary profit. So here's Nadine acting solely based on an abstract principle, and there's no hint here of calculated self-interest, right, or a desire to adhere to norms. And lastly, E, these employers engaged in an illegal but profitable practice has also caused damage to the environment. He reported this practice to the authorities, only because several colleagues had been pressuring her to do so, right? So it sounded pretty good for a while. But at the end here, we see that B is adhering to some societal so that leaves us with only answer choice D after the elimination process. And it's so easy to overthink these things, right? And you can kind of say to yourself, oh God, maybe she's protecting the environment for her own interest, right? So that she can live in a better world or whatnot. But that would be an example of overthinking it, right? We found clear issues with all four of the other answer choices based on information given in the stimulus. And looking at D on its surface, it matches up very, very well with the advanced kind of moral motivation the ethicist is discussing. So, D is the correct answer. so we've now gone through all of the different types of questions that you're likely to face in the logical reasoning section. Keep in mind the big bulk of them, and in particular, a strong majority of the hardest questions that you're likely to see in this section are argument-based questions that require you to be critical of the reasoning. Okay, so you really want to get very, very good at identifying arguments and thinking about why the support in these arguments does not guarantee the conclusion reached. And all of these questions have something to do with your ability to see that. You've also got, as a bit of a counterpoint, these argument-based questions that don't require you to be critical. Right? And in these cases, very important for you to stay as objective as possible. And then finally, you've got some questions that are not centered necessarily on your understanding of arguments, right? Inference questions. Even explain this and identify this. So that's it. Thank you so much for sticking with me through that whole thing. If you'd like even more free information about the exam, please check out my website, thelsattrainer.com, where I have 8 free chapters of my book. That's about pages of free instruction. So
keep going. I'll make sure there's no retaliation from the LSPD. Just a simple matter of rerouting some calls.
Thank you, Fred. Do something together. One thing to keep in mind with logical reasoning is that all the arguments or all the passages basically fall into 2 categories. Right? You're either going to read an argument or you're going to read a set of facts. And you don't know until you read it. But once you read it, it's pretty obvious. It's always obvious, but it's pretty obvious. If it's an argument, there's a conclusion that the person is trying to prove. And if it's not an argument, kind of tell because it's like fact, and none of the facts are supporting the other facts. It's just like data points, right? Okay, now, if it's an argument, then what you're trying to decide is whether or not the evidence that they gave in that argument proves the conclusion. And in most cases it doesn't. And if it's not an argument, if it's just a set of facts, then 9 times out of 10, the question is going to ask you, what must be true given what was said, right? So, one way to think about this, if you have an argument, you're looking at premises that add up to a conclusion, and the question is, do the premises prove the conclusion, right? Does this evidence equal this conclusion? Whereas if it's not an argument, well, you'll be given premises or pieces of evidence, facts, and there's no conclusion, but they'll usually ask you which one of the following answers must be true given what these things say, or which one of the following answers is most strongly supported by these premises. The bottom line is that whether you are given an argument or given a set of facts, no matter what you're given, you're still being asked to decide whether the combination of what is proven by those facts, right? In this case, they're just going to ask you that directly. They're going to say, hey, which one of the following answers must be true? In this case, they don't ask you that directly, but that's what you're essentially figuring out. You're saying, okay, well, do these premises prove this conclusion? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then you figure out why. That's the flaw of the argument. And if they do, then great, the argument is valid. And the question might ask you something else. It might be like, okay, well, what's the main point, or what's the structure of the argument, or what is parallel reasoning? Logical reasoning passages are going to fall into 1 or 2 types, but even though they are very different in some ways on the surface, when you dig deeper, essentially all you're trying to do is make sure you understand each fact that was given and what logically follows from each of those facts when they're combined together. Okay? That's the core skill. And that's the core skill that's tested not only in logical reasoning, but but also in games. In games, they're just giving you random facts, and then they're asking you what must be true, what has to follow from those rules, right? And reading comics is the same thing. They're just giving it to you in a different format. They're giving you 15 sentences, and they're saying, okay, given these 15 sentences, what has to be true? What follows from these sentences, right? So, although the test can feel very different in some ways, it's all comes down to, do you understand what claims are stated, and do you understand what logically follows from those claims, okay? So, what's the best way, in my opinion, to tackle this problem? So carefully understand each sentence as you read it in the argument, and then decide, is this an argument or a set of facts? If it's an argument, figure out whether the premises prove the conclusion. In most cases they don't, and then try to figure out why they don't. If it's not an argument, just figure out what is proven by those facts, and 9 times out of 10, that's what they're going to ask you for in the answers.
I made over $10 million on Amazon. If I lost it all, that's $50 today. AI, and here's exactly what I would do. First, I would use AI to find a popular product on Alibaba that could buy for a few cents. Then I would sell the same thing on Amazon for a few dollars, and I'll do this over and over and over again. I made millions of copy and pasting products this way. Just look at these golden cups. They cost 4 pennies on Alibaba, yet thousands of people pay $29 for this on Amazon. And so many of my friends have been.
Once you found the keys, the train should be at your disposal.
One thing to keep in mind with logical reasoning is that all the arguments or all the passages basically fall into 2 categories. Right? You're either going to read an argument or you're going to read a set of facts. And you don't know until you read it. But once you read it, it's pretty obvious. It's not always obvious, but it's pretty obvious. If it's an argument, there's a conclusion that the person is trying to prove, and if it's not an argument, you can kind of tell because it's just like fact, 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 and none of the facts are supporting the other facts. It's just like data points, right? Okay, now, if it's an argument, then what you're trying to decide is whether or not the evidence that they gave in that argument proves the conclusion. And in most cases it doesn't. And if it's not an argument, if it's just a set of facts, then 9 times out of 10, the question is going to ask you, what must be true given what was said, right? So, one way to think about this, if you have an argument, you're looking at premises that add up to a conclusion, and the question is, do the premises prove the conclusion, right? Does this evidence equal this conclusion? Whereas if it's not an argument, well, it'll be given premises or pieces of evidence, facts, and there's no conclusion, but they'll usually ask you which one of the following answers must be true given what these things say, or which one of the following answers is most strongly supported by these premises. The bottom line is that whether you are given an argument or given a set of facts, no matter what you're given, you're still being asked to decide whether the combination of what is proven by those facts, right? In this case, they're just going to ask you that directly. They're going to say, hey, which one of the following answers must be true? In this case, they don't ask you that directly, but that's what you're essentially figuring out. You're saying, okay, well, do these premises prove this conclusion? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then you figure out why. That's the flaw in the argument. And if they do, then great, the argument is valid. And the question might ask you something else. It might be like, okay, well, what's the main point, or what's the structure of the argument, or what argument is parallel reasoning. Logical reasoning passages are going to fall into 1 or 2 types, but even though they are very different in some ways on the surface, when you dig deeper, essentially all you're trying to do is make sure you understand each fact that was given and what logically follows from each of those facts when they're combined together. Okay? That's the core skill. And that's the core skill that's tested not only in logical reasoning, but also in games. Because I'm just giving you facts and asking you what must be true, what has to follow from those rules, right? And reading comp is the same thing. They're just giving it to you in a different format. They're giving you 15 sentences and saying, okay, given these 15 sentences, what has to be true? What follows from these sentences, right? So, although the test could feel very different in some ways, it all comes down to, do you understand what claims were stated, and do you understand what logically follows from those claims? Okay? So, what's the best way, in my mind, to tackle this sort of framework? Is to carefully understand each sentence as you read it in the argument, and then decide, is this an argument or a set of facts? If it's an argument, figure out whether the premises prove the conclusion. In most cases they don't, and then try to figure out where they don't. If it's not an argument, just figure out what is proven by those facts, then 9 times out of 10, that's what they're going to ask in the answers.
Know what'd stop all the killing and robbing in this place? Every one of the sheep out there owning a piece. Now you are prepared against government tyranny.
What does it take to score in the 170s?
Calling for some wheels? It's on the way. I'll get back to it then.
Baby, you've been gone 30 minutes. Oh, you was right there. You was right there. You went to the what? Oh, sorry, you got in your car, true. Excuse me. No. Sorry. You got so much going on, babe. It's hard to keep up with you. Yeah.
My dude, what's up? No, dude, shit, yeah. We like totally split up ages ago. She's like fair game, bro. Dude, hit that shit. Hit it hard. Smash it into her. Make her scream, bro. Gorilla. Hey man, no. No. Please, I love you, bro. Hello! You wouldn't believe it. It took like 3 hours to get on the freeway. I mean, I don't give a shiz. I'm chill. I'm mellow. I'm drinking Hilo. You know me, dude.
Where is it? Not on the couch.
Good car. Very impressive.
Yeah, where you put your phone? Think you might let me to the car? my pocket. Roll the video. Roll the video. I got your keys in my pocket. So what's going on? How did I get your keys in my pocket? When? Hell no. I'm gonna look at it when I'm in the Yup. I did.
Yes, we're open. How satisfactory!
Might be.
No way.
Jay Criminy! Oh, goodness! Oh, my God!
Hey, buddy. Got him. There he is.
What the heck? Gee, damn! Oh, bullshit!
You through to your garage. You, need me to bring you a ride? I'll bring it by. Okay? I got stuff to do.
Yes, this is he. Yes. Oh. That's great. Yeah, yes. I can come anytime for an interview.
I should be doing period dramas.
finally arranged a three-way between Fred from my overeaters group and Phil from my sex addicts group.
Sending you the target coordinates now. I'm sending you some visual ID of our targets. Make sure to familiarize yourself. I've been keeping track of a few gangs with varying loadouts, and they should all have plenty of weapons and equipment. We need one cache of weapons and one stash of gear. Masks and armor that can't be traced to us. Decide who you want to hit. Take note. These groups are the same criminal elements you may have visited in search of a getaway vehicle. If you wish, you can return to the people you've already inconvenienced. But be careful. This time, they'll be on alert. It's critical that we acquire the weapons and the getaway vehicle on separate occasions. If all the equipment used to raid the factory was stolen at the same time, it'd be much more likely the police would smell a rat and trace it all back to us. Expect a hard fight and equally impressive equipment. weapons and gear.
Why, hello. Enjoy that.
Time to hit it. You feeling able-bodied and prepared for confrontation? Excellent. Because they'll be expecting you this time. Advise me to bring for the targets when there's a lapse in gunfire. Loot the safe and secure as much of their product as you can. Don't forget the extra equipment you sourced if you feel something else would be more effective. I've bribed some friends in the Department of Sanitation to leave it in the dumpster to the rear of the factory.
Fuck you, motherfuckers! Hey, go back! Oh! Cover! Jesus Cristo! Motherfucker!
successfully acquired, you're done. You know the deal. Reload and see yourself out. Okay, they're mobilizing on the comms. Sounds like they're about to shut down any nearby roads. But as usual, we're one step ahead. Your getaway car is stored just beyond their reach. I strongly advise you make your way to the getaway vehicle. I can confirm it's still where you left it. I can't wait to see him try to take that car down.
You can't take a name. There's no escape.
Make sure there's no one in your rear view before you go to the lockup.
You calling for some wheels? It's coming at you. Okay, I got stuff to do.
membership deal thing? How much extra is a personal trainer? I think at this point it's really the only thing that's going to motivate me to go to her. What did you want to ask?
Hey, Lawrence.
If you have any doubt,
No, definitely not. Shoulder of Orion sucks. Solomon Richards? When did he ever make a good movie?
Let's get a smoothie next week, okay?
So, Mr. Crest said we should talk about work. But not here. Is there a room in the back or something? Cool, I'll get set up. So, Mr. Crest said you might be able to help me out with something. Well, not me, so that's clear. It's not me you're going to be helping. And I want it understood that I am not involved. Just a bystander doing a favor. And this is not an offer of employment so much as an opportunity. And, well, anyway, that's just getting a bit technical. But the point is, sometimes our fair and legal justice system makes mistakes. And this is one such time. Here he is, Professor Maxim Rashkovsky. You know the professor? Used to be head of research for the Army. 3 doctorates. Overconfident polymath, vain sociopath, tedious egomaniac, control freak, geneticist, weapons development, engineer, car nut, but definitely not a people person. Accused of espionage along with everything else? You don't remember? Well, lucky you. Exceedingly vain and self-absorbed man, brilliant at everything he does, yada yada yada, makes you want to puke. He's a goddamn traitor. I mean, he's a rat, but he pays. Incarcerated for a crime he did commit, but, well, let's just say money talks, and he's going to walk. So, we got a few things to get ready, all pretty straightforward. Do them one at a time, but any way you like. Standard op for a GovFact breakout, if you know what I mean. Rad. All right, first thing's a plane. Then we got a bus, and then, well, 2 things. We got the inmate transfer schedule and Rashkovsky's car. More on that later. Let me show you. We need a plane to get the professor out of the country. It's currently being used to traffic drugs by a transnational street gang, the Vagos. The bus. We need a standard Bolingbrook transport vehicle. The least traffic is on the route from Paleto Bay. All right? That's where you're going to be able to get a hold of one. You can get a hard copy of the inmate transit schedule at the LSPD's Mission Row station. Go in unarmed, play it cool. You might not have a problem. That's a 2-person job, max. The other 2-hander is our guy's prize Casco. We believe it's about to be shipped to Korea by a luxury car theft ring. Okay. Mr. Kress said you guys are at least semi-competent, so, well, Professor Reshkovsky pays well.
yet undecided. Go in how you like, but go in with a good supply of ammunition, armor, and maybe even explosives. It's gonna get kinda heavy. Like I said before, the airfield is under Vagos' control. They're using the plane to make trafficking runs across the border. That means it's already set up to take Reshkovsky out of the country. Limited radar visibility, plausible cover story. It's perfect. Don't let the fact that there are a bunch of angry drug dealers waiting for you affect how you go in, or actually do. Some more background on the Vagos. Okay. Globalized, multinational, decentralized criminal network. Their principal interest is in drug trafficking, but they've diversified into mid-level distribution, end-user sales, and trafficking other contraband. You get caught with a kilo of coke, they throw the book at you. You're caught with a quart of capybara semen, it's a slap on the wrist. And the market for large endangered rodent ejaculate is lucrative. Most of the Vagos upper management is shot callers, if you like, are already incarcerated here in the States and throughout Central and Latin America. They run the network on cell phones, and it's a relatively flat hierarchy at the top. So if you cut one head off, there's 6 more waiting to bite. Not that I want to dismantle any criminal networks. As you know, I'm a criminal myself. I just like to do my homework. Criminal homework. The prison angle's gonna help us sell our something that they would do, but it's the kind of thing the authorities believe that they would do, which is all that really matters. You get me? Okay.
I'm otherwise occupied, so call back later. You heard?
relevant coordinates to you. I have a checklist for today's operation. Number 1, a laptop from a Cluck and Bell employee on the cartel's payroll. It's got critical intel for our operation. Number 2, a hacking device which is going to help us pilot a train. And that brings me to number 3. We need a train. That's how we're getting into the factory. By the way, don't worry. We may share a goal, but I'm fully aware we do not share a motivation. I've made sure sufficient funds are allocated to recompense you for your efforts today. Let's get the guy with the laptop. This is a critical piece of intel. The cartel have paid off multiple Cluck and Bell employees to look the other way while they use their business as a cover for the manufacture and distribution of cocaine. This laptop's gonna give us a window into their schedules. I just sent you a CCTV image of the guy. You got a choice. Steal the laptop behind his back or incapacitate him first. I'll leave it to you.
Are actually worse for you, you know.
Whatever. Girls are vain as hell. Like I care. Sweet. Confiscate the laptop. Good. The information on this laptop is going to tell us our optimal window for hitting the factory. Whoa!
ourselves a hacking device. If we're gonna do this, there's a lot of computer systems we're gonna need to override along the way, and this is our ticket. Now, fair warning, the guy who owns this is a pretty serious criminal element. Major hacker. The LSPD won't touch him, but we will. He operates out of a Terabyte command truck. I'm sending you a picture of it now. My advice to you is, locate his drones. They're tethered to his security. Take them down before you proceed. Accessible. You find it? Good work. Keep the device accessible. We're gonna need it. Okay, with those two items taken care of, let's move on to the big one. The cartel occasionally takes train deliveries at the factory. We're gonna steal one of the trains they use and roll in right under their noses. But first things first, we're gonna need a set of keys if we're gonna board it unimpeded. Keep going. I'll make sure there's no retaliation from the LSPD. Just a simple matter of rerouting some calls. Got the keys? Then please admit yourself aboard. I don't suppose you're familiar with the schematics of the train signal network? No? Then just follow the instructions on the hacking device to change the signals as you approach them. You need to keep that train moving at all
Now don't get too crazy with that, you hear?